I'll be replacing 3 metal hopper basement windows with vinyl windows. One replacement window is an American Craftsman made by Anderson that was marked down to $40 at Home Depot. It's a little small for the opening, but it'll work. The other two are special order. Plygen has recently bought the American Craftsman brand. Be warned that the workmanship by this company is less than stellar. My windows have covers. With no time pressure, I could remove the window sashes, make a plan on how to install the new windows, measure the openings, and wait for the windows to arrive. The windows hadn't been opened for over 30 years. I had to use an oscillating saw and a blade designed to cut steel. I had to cut the top latch in 2 plates that were screwed into place in the lower corners of the frame to be able to remove the window sash. I was careful not to damage the metal frame. This house was built with cinder block, not concrete block. Older cinder block breaks more easily than concrete block. If the frame was still in good shape, I wanted to keep it in place and use it rather than disturb the old block. The bottoms of the frames, where water-cooled, looked pretty bad. All 4 sides of the frame are sound and solidly in place. The sides of the frame are sandwiched between block. The bottom frame is embedded in masonry. The top of the frame is sandwiched by a metal lintel plate that supports the brick on the outside of the house, and on the inside is wood. Next, measure the opening. Measure the width and the height at 3 places. Subtract a ½ inch from the smallest measurement from each dimension. That should be the target size for the outer dimensions of your replacement window. Take 2 measurements from corner to corner. The difference between those 2 measurements must not be over 1/8 of an inch. If the difference between the 2 measurements is more than 1/8 of an inch, then your opening is not square. If the opening is not square, it's possible that even after subtracting a ½ inch from the width and the height of the opening, that the replacement window won't fit in the opening. Because the frames are sound and I don't want to risk damaging the possibly brittle cinder block and having to repair the masonry on the sills, I will leave the frames in place. I wire brushed the loose rust from the frames, encapsulated it with a rust inhibitor, and painted the frames with enamel spray paint. I've made a separate video showing this process. Click on the channel name and go to the playlist titled Replace a Basement Window to find it. After I received the special order windows, I removed the window sashes and the screens from the frames. I dry fitted the 3 frames into the openings. The outer perimeter of the new vinyl frame is resting against the old metal frame. There is a gap at the bottom between the old metal frame and the new vinyl frame. I cut a piece of PVC board and fit it into that gap. The bottom of the new window frame will sit on top of this piece of PVC. To get the maximum overlapping of the new vinyl frame onto the old existing metal frame, I ordered the windows only a ¼ inch smaller than this opening. As you can see on the level, this frame was not plumb. And even though all 3 horizontal measurements measured the same distance, the new window just barely fit into the metal frame. Don't cover the weep holes located at the bottom outside of the frame. Their job is to let any water escape from the bottom of the frame if it gets inside. Drilling any holes on the bottom part of the frame is frowned upon because it can allow water to drain through the frame and rot anything below. I'll use 100% silicone I'll put a generous bead of that on the bottom of the frame, then place the PVC strip on top of that. I sealed up any gaps between the metal frame and the block with backer rod or with silicone. I'll do a final check of the fit of the window in the opening. It's level and plumb. It's also level in this direction. It also looks good in the opening. There were no detailed instructions provided by the manufacturer of the window on how to fasten it or shim it. It just came with a package of 4 screws. I chose to fasten mine with Tapcon concrete anchors. At this point, some people might spray window and door foam sealant between the window frame and opening and call it a day. If the window starts to stick due to temperature or moisture changes, it'll be difficult to make any adjustments, not to mention the difficulty in removing the window when it needs to be replaced next time. On the 2 sides of the frame, I measured 4 inches from the corner and drilled 2 holes on each side. I also clamped a PVC strip to the frame. The strip will be used as a spacer. I'll use my drill bit to transfer the location of the holes. Choose the appropriate size masonry drill bit and mark the hole depth with a piece of painter's tape. Set the drill to the hammer setting. Drill the holes and clean them out. You can buy cedar or plastic shims. I've installed the window sash. I've inserted 4 pairs of shims just above the screw holes. I installed this pair first. I checked that the window sash slides freely. Then installed the second pair and checked the window operation again. Then I made a final check to make sure that the window latches. Use the shims in pairs. If just one is used, it's a wedge and it could twist the frame. The purpose of the wedges is to keep the window from moving side to side as the window sash is opened and closed. They need to be tight enough to stop the window from moving back and forth when the sash is opened and closed, but not so tight that they bow the frame of the window and impede the operation. Now that my dry fit is satisfactory, I'll put silicone sealant along the 3 sides of my metal frame. I'll also put a generous bead along the bottom of the frame. The window's in place. I reinstalled the shims and wiped off any excess silicone. I've tested the window for correct operation one more time. I'll fill in the voids between the window frame and the opening with backer rod, pipe insulation in any larger gaps, or fiberglass in any small places. For the trim on the special order windows, I bought extra sill plate. The sill plate fits into a slot that's around the perimeter of the window. This window doesn't have a channel around the perimeter, so I can't snap sill plate into place. I'll make a frame out of PVC and then fasten it with silicone. There's the final result from the outside, and there's the other type of window. I hope you found this video helpful. A thumbs up is always appreciated. Click on the channel name, Know How Now, to find other videos, and thanks for watching.